Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our workshop. Just going to give a minute to make sure everyone is connected to their sound. It looks good. This evening, our presentation is about support for our support people. Our agenda this evening, just going to give a minute for our slideshow. Technology is not always our friend, and we're going to see how we're doing with it tonight. Our agenda for this evening, we're going to start with each member of our team doing a brief presentation. There is an opportunity for questions and answers if you have any, and then we're going to do our breakout rooms, which I'll give you a rundown at the end of the presentation on how they operate. But if you wouldn't mind going into the chat and just letting us know if you're planning on staying for the breakout rooms so we can get them set up for later, so that we can slide into them quickly at the end of the presentation, that would be fantastic. All right. And I believe I am presenting first. So I'm Amanda Kennedy. I am a birth and postpartum doula on our team at Helping Hands. And I'm going to present tonight a little bit, just sharing on what our topic is about and the essence of what we wanted to talk about. So we all know that in June we have Father's Day, but what we wanted to highlight was that on June 17th, it's International Father's Mental Health Day. And we really wanted to talk tonight about not only dads, but support partners and their mental health and supporting them and looking after them and things that we can be doing to recognize the transitions that they're going through and the role they're playing and how we can support them. So I did want to share a little bit of information on some statistics to show the relevance of our topic tonight. So what we've learned from looking at things like CAMH is that paternal postpartum depression actually accounts for about 10% of men between the first trimester and 1 year of their child's age. Also, we know that when a birthing parent develops a mental health problem, that their male partners are at a higher risk as well. So that's really significant. We want good, strong support people for our families, and we want to acknowledge what they're going through. Also, there's a U of T study that we've found that 1 in 4 fathers experience both anxiety and depression at some point during their child's first year. And that's really relevant in the sense that it's quite underreported as well. So that means there's a lot more partners out there experiencing anxiety, mental health concerns around the arrival of their new little one, and we want it to be the best experience possible. So we want you to know it is real. It's okay for everyone to experience some anxiety and changes around these transitions in their role, and that we're here to help. And as doulas coming in, especially in the postpartum sense, share with us. We want to hear what your experience is, and we want to sit with you and hear it and support you and acknowledge and validate it and help you come up with some solutions that actually improve your situation for everyone in your family, so everyone is well supported. And I know that our doulas tonight after me have some really great tips on things that you can be doing and resources to access to see that be successful. So I am going to pass it on to our next doula, who is Laura.
Okay. Hi, I'm Laura. I'm a birth and postpartum doula with Helping Hands. And one of the ways that we as doulas can support partners is by providing guidance on how to support the birthing person. So sometimes the partners have identified in our prenatal classes or things like that, that they want to be involved, and how that might affect like how they feel and the impact that they can have on the birthing experience. And so they want to be involved and they're just not really sure how. We want you to be confident, and we believe that you know just how to support her. So in our prenatal sessions, we will look at various comfort measures and coping techniques for the birthing person. And one of the things that we look at is the role that you can play in keeping her calm and relaxed, why this will be beneficial, and how it impacts the labor. So again, the way that we can support you in the pre-birth time, or one of those ways anyway, is to help give you as well the tools to um, impact that whole birth experience and to help um, your wife or your partner or girlfriend or whoever as they go through labor. And I'm going to pass it on to Carla.
Thank you, Laura. Yeah, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what it is like for a dad or their birth partner in terms of bonding with baby. So there's lots of information about how mom can bond or the birthing person can bond. There's lots of fuss that's made around mom and baby and that sort of stuff. So sometimes partners can feel a little bit left out or maybe feel like they're having a bit of a harder time connecting with their newborn. And the best way to do that really is skin to skin. And so just as, mom can do skin to skin with the baby, so can the support partner, really anybody who's supporting mom. But in this case, we're talking about, dads or other intimate support partners. You can spend time bathing the baby, changing the baby, getting them dressed. All of those sort of caretaking things are great ways to interact with your baby. And there's also just sitting and cuddling them, chatting with them, talking to them, looking in their faces when their little newborn eyes are open, just marveling at how soft their skin is. So anytime that you can hold them and be with them and really just kind of try and do that face-to-face contact with them is a great way to help with that bonding and feeling a bit more connected and a bit more part of things if you're feeling a little bit left out. And I am going to rely on Laura or Amanda to tell me who is coming next so that I can pass it along to them.
Hi, I'm Mandy, a postpartum doula. And so just as we would recommend mothers to connect with other mothers, we can also recommend fathers to have contact with other fathers. So most of a very powerful thing you can do for your mental health is to connect with other dads who are going through similar experiences. Joining a dad support group, either in person or online, can be great. In Toronto, there are meetups for dads. There's the Fatherhood Initiative, for example, or there is an international dads group of the city of Toronto, just like a few examples. I'm sure there are also similar groups where you live. And those groups can provide an invaluable sense of community and understanding. Hearing from other dads who have been there and sharing your own struggles can help normalize the challenges you're facing. So connecting with other dads allows you to build a support network, exchange advice and coping strategies. And it's just good to realize that the feelings you are experiencing are valid and shared by many. And it's a reminder that you don't have to navigate fatherhood alone. And reaching out and connecting with other dads can be a game changer for your mental well-being during this time in your life. And I pass it on to the next doula, Heidi.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us. My name's Heidi, and I'm a birth and postpartum doula with the team. I'm glad we're talking about this topic because I think it's not discussed as much as it should be. Dads are put in a real, caregiving role. There's a lot of sort of unseen pressures and responsibilities that I think the supporting partners put on themselves to look after their new family. And so it's really important that if you're the one who's going to be looking after the mom and infant, that you first take care of yourself. It's a cliche, but it's so important. So the basics are what I want to talk about, just the basics of self-care, which is good nutrition, some level of exercise or outdoor time every day, getting good sleep, these are sort of the three basics, and they become a real challenge when you have this, your world is turned upside down. And so what I would recommend is spending time with your partner to discuss how you're going to plan those meals, how, put away healthy meals in the freezer, and just ask people to bring you food, or, whatever your plan is, but have a plan for those first 6 weeks of how you're going to eat well. Exercise may be something that you do regularly, and you might have to cut back on that when baby comes, or it's something you don't do regularly and you may have to push yourself to get out there and get some sunshine and movement and walking or something. But we know that exercise is really closely related to feelings of well-being. So it's really important to incorporate that into some sort of daily routine when you have your baby. Sleep is really, really important for our mental health, and really tough when baby comes into our lives. So this is a tough one, but we tell moms to sleep when baby sleeps. So dads should also do the same as much as they can. Certainly, if you are heading back to work right after baby is born, it's more challenging, and you and your partner are really going to have to negotiate how sleep happens. You need to be there to help out when mom has had enough, but perhaps you get longer stretches at night. And you do your bit on the weekend, or whatever you guys choose, but it helps to discuss, like, how do you think it's going to be if it's an all-nighter. So try not to have both of you up all night together. Take turns and share the load as much as you can. The other important thing that I'd like to talk about, just in terms of self-care, is your own internal dialogue, to be kind to yourself. It's such an overwhelming task, and nobody is a master at this task. Everybody muddles through, and as long as you're loving your partner and your baby, you won't do anything wrong. And so just be good to yourself and check in with your partner, how they're doing in terms of their feelings, and check in with yourself. Like, maybe you need to make adjustments to some of those other self-care activities to make yourself feel a little bit more taken care of as well. And the most important thing, as other people have discussed too, is reaching out for help when you need it. So that may be family, friends, community supports, or certainly your doulas in your life too can always be helpful. So wishing you all the best, and I will pass it on to the next doula.
That's me. Hi, everybody. I'm Christie. I do have a job here. There it is. I'm a birth and postpartum doula. I would say at this stage of the game, I'm primarily a birth doula, but I do a lot of postpartum work. So I'm looking forward to seeing any of you that might be in my area, even if I don't attend your birth. So what I wanted to talk about is the O word. That might not be the O word that you first comes to mind when you're thinking about making babies, but the O word that is the watchword for labor is oxytocin. So if you know what is oxytocin, it's commonly referred to as the love hormone. So it's also the hormone that actually drives labor contraction. So oxytocin comes from your brain and it goes to the bloodstream, and in a laboring woman, it attaches to oxytocin receptors in the uterus and causes contractions. So quite literally, feelings of love will help a labor go smoothly. So oxytocin isn't just the love hormone, however, it has importance throughout the child rearing process. And it's also the thing that allows humans to bond with each other, and also bond with animals, or bond with anything, honestly. So when you have that delightful skin to skin cuddles with your newborn baby, you're actually helping your baby to bond to yourself, and you're also helping yourself. So oxytocin and anxiety hormones, or stress hormones, are they antagonize each other. So if you're feeling super duper stressed, maybe all of you realize how good it feels to have a hug from somebody that you love. And that sort of in a nutshell, also will help help you manage this stressful period of early parenthood, is all of that oxytocin that comes. This is why we do this over and over and over again. This is how we get through. It's by loving each other and loving our babies, even when our babies are the source of the stress, because we're, you know, having lack of sleep, because we're confused, because we're worrying that they're not gaining enough weight, because we're worrying about our partners, all of those things. It all comes back to how much love do you feel? So in addition to you being a very important person in the birth room by providing that love, because you're going to be the most intimate person that's that your partner knows in the birth room. It's super duper important that we keep that oxytocin flowing as much as possible. Not just through the first 6 weeks, but, you know, through your entire lives. But it's going to be a matter of how do we survive as a family and come through this, not just surviving, but thriving. And that all comes down to that oxytocin. So plenty of things that you can do, skin to skin, like some other people have mentioned, just gazing in your baby's face. You'll recognize oxytocin because it's that thing that makes you go, oh, when you see something so incredibly cute, or it makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up when you hear like a really beautiful story or a beautiful piece of music, or gives you goosebumps. So you'll know the oxytocin is working, and if you feel those things in your body, and it will help you to eliminate your stress. So passing it on to Sharon Clemens, I believe, is the last one to go. And I think she's going to talk about dad jokes. Is that right, Sharon?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hi, everybody. I'm Sharon. I am a postpartum doula with Helping Hands. And all these things that the ladies have brought up tonight are super important, especially for your mental health. And we all the time talk about, you know, the moms having postpartum depression, sleep deprivation, and issues. But in my experience, I have come across some dads who have really, really suffered. And I want you guys to know that it is a thing, and you definitely need to reach out. Most men don't want to share. They don't want to share with their friends. They don't want to share with their family. Sometimes they're even reluctant to share with us because it makes them feel like maybe less than a man. If that's your situation, you really need to talk to your doctor. Your doctor is there. They understand that this is a real issue and that you matter just as much. I also wanted to point out, not too frequently, but a couple of times, I've come across birth trauma. So we all want to think that our birth goes tickety boo, everything's great, but sometimes there's some issues that come up during the birth. And I found that there's a lot of support parent who experiences more of the trauma than the birth parent. Birth parents in herself working on getting this baby out. Meanwhile, you're experiencing all these scary things that you didn't think could ever happen. And, you know, whether it's a bit of a blood loss or some blood pressure issues or anything that is scary, there are dads who do experience birth trauma, and it's real. And you're allowed to have the feelings that you do. It's really not a place that most men like to be when they're out of control. They just want to be there for their partner. And if you are finding that, you know, you've really had some difficulty with the birth, you need to reach out. And a lot of the dads don't want to bring it up to mom. They really don't. They don't want to scare her or make an impression on her. And if she says the birth was good, then they suffer in silence. They don't want to say, I was so scared when such and such happened, or that was the worst thing I've ever experienced, because they don't want to share that with the birth parent. So just know there are definitely therapists out there that you can speak with. There are doctors that you absolutely should speak with. Your feelings matter. It really does. And it can impact long-term on your marital relations as well as your relationship with your child. You want everybody to be in a really good situation where you're all bonded together, and any ill feelings that you've had, you've been able to work through. So please, please think of yourself, reach out, talk to people who you trust, which may only be your doctor. You know, sometimes your friends will poo-poo it away. You don't want to talk to the birth parent. You don't want to talk to your family. That's what doctors are there for. Okay, so reach out to your doctor, get the help you need, and enjoy this time. Don't let it push you back. Make this the best time of your life. So that's what I have to say. Thanks for everybody for coming tonight, and I hope to see you all in the chat rooms.
Thank you, doulas. That was great. I always learn something even when I'm listening to all of us talk again. I love it.